This movie begins by revealing a shocking scene that pulls you into a broken world. Humanity has been infertile for 18 years and no babies have been born. Most countries have collapsed, but Britain still functions, ruled by a harsh government that controls everything. London is grim, with cages for immigrants and constant fear of violence. Theo Faron, a former activist now working a boring office job, feels numb to it all. He has given up hope, like many others. Over 90% of our viewers enjoy our content, but haven't subscribed yet. We know you want to, you just forget sometimes. As we dive deeper into this mind-bending, emotional sci-fi movie, take a moment to like, share, and subscribe for more captivating film recaps. The movie begins inside a crowded cafe. People watch a news report about the death of baby Diego, the youngest person on Earth, who was 18. He was killed and the world mourns. Theo walks in looking tired. He buys a coffee, barely paying attention to the sad faces around him. He steps outside to add whiskey to his drink. Seconds later, a huge explosion rocks the cafe. Glass shatters, smoke fills the air, and screams echo. A woman stumbles out, holding her severed arm. Theo, shaken but unhurt, walks away quickly. This powerful opening sets the tone for a thrilling, emotional film. It shows a world falling apart, where danger is everywhere. Theo's reaction, walking away without helping, shows how detached he is, but this moment also hints that he might find a reason to care again. As the city tries to move on, Theo goes to work, not knowing his life is about to change. He boards a train later that day, heading to visit an old friend who lives far from London's chaos. This visit will give him a moment of peace before everything gets more dangerous. After surviving the cafe bombing, Theo takes a train to the countryside to see Jasper Palmer, his old friend. Jasper lives in a hidden house surrounded by trees, far from London's violence and control. He used to be a political cartoonist, but now he grows marijuana and takes care of his wife Janice, who cannot speak or move because the government tortured her years ago. Jasper's home feels warm and strange, with colorful art and a cozy fireplace. Theo and Jasper sit together, smoking and talking. Jasper makes jokes, bringing some lightness to the dark world. He talks about how the government uses fear to control people. They spread lies about immigrants and terrorism to keep everyone scared. Jasper also mentions baby Diego's death, saying people are crying for someone they did not know. Theo listens quietly. He does not say much, but you can tell he is tired of the world. Through their talk, we learn Theo used to fight for change with his ex-wife Julian. They lost their son Dylan to a flu outbreak years ago, and Theo gave up after that. Jasper hints that Theo could find purpose again, but Theo seems unsure. This scene is a break from the danger, showing a friendship that keeps Theo grounded. This moment of calm is important in a film full of action and heartbreak. It sets up Theo's journey from hopelessness to courage. As Theo leaves Jasper's house, he heads back to London, unaware that trouble is coming his way. The next day, Theo walks through London's busy streets. Suddenly, masked people grab him. They put a bag over his head and push him into a van. Theo is scared but cannot fight back. The van takes him to a secret building. When the bag is removed, he sees Julian Taylor, his ex-wife. Julian leads the Fishes, a group fighting for immigrant rights against the government's cruel laws. Julian looks serious but calm. She asks Theo for help. She needs transit papers to move a young refugee girl, Key, to a safe place. Theo knows someone who can get the papers, his cousin Nigel, who works for the government. Theo does not want to get involved, but Julian offers money and he agrees. Their talk is short but heavy. They mention their son, Dylan, who died years ago. It is clear they both still hurt from that loss. Julian explains that Theo must also travel with Key to make sure she gets through checkpoints. Theo feels uneasy but says yes. This scene shows how far apart Theo and Julian have grown. She still believes in a cause, but he does not. Yet, agreeing to help pulls him back into a world he left behind. This gripping moment keeps you on edge, wondering what Key's role is. It sets up a thrilling adventure full of danger and hope. Theo leaves to get the papers, not knowing he is stepping into something much bigger than a simple favor. Theo gets the transit papers from his cousin Nigel and joins Julian, Key, Luke, and Miriam in a car. They drive through the countryside, heading to a safe place for Key. The group is quiet, but there is hope. Theo and Julian talk a little, remembering old times. It feels like they might understand each other again. Suddenly, a burning car rolls down a hill, blocking the road. A group of attackers runs out of the woods, screaming and shooting. Julian drives backward fast, trying to escape. Bullets hit the car. One hits Julian in the neck. Blood pours out, and she dies in Theo's arms, her eyes full of pain. Theo is shocked. Luke takes the wheel, and they get away. They stop at an old barn to hide. Luke shoots 2 police officers who followed them. Theo notices Luke seems too calm. Something feels wrong, but Theo is too upset to think clearly. Later, we learn the attack was planned by Luke and some fishes. They wanted Julian dead to take control of the group. This intense scene is a turning point in a film that keeps you glued to the screen. Julian's death leaves the group lost, and Theo must step up. It also makes you question who to trust. The danger feels real, and the story gets darker. As the group rests in the barn, Theo starts to wonder about Key and why she is so important. In the barn, after the ambush, the group is tired and sad. It is night, and rain falls outside. Key, the young refugee, looks nervous. She asks Theo to come with her to a quiet corner. Theo follows, not sure what she wants. Key lifts her shirt, showing her pregnant belly. Theo stares, unable to believe it. No one has been pregnant in 18 years. Key is carrying the first baby in a world where hope is gone. Key smiles nervously, saying she does not know who the father is. She is scared, but tries to joke. Theo is silent, his mind racing. This baby could change everything. It is a miracle, but it also makes Key a target. The fishes want to protect her, but Theo wonders if they have other plans. This scene is the heart of Children of Men, a movie that mixes despair with hope. Key's pregnancy is a light in the darkness, showing that life can go on. It changes Theo too. He starts to care even though he is afraid. The moment is quiet but powerful, making you feel the weight of what is at stake. Theo knows they cannot stay in the barn. The fishes will take them to a safe house soon. He feels a new responsibility to keep Key safe, no matter what. At night, Theo cannot sleep. He hears voices and creeps downstairs. Hiding, he listens to Luke and others. Luke says the ambush that killed Julian was planned. He wanted Julian gone because she was going to take Key to the Human Project, a group of scientists working to fix infertility. Luke wants to use Key's baby to start a revolution, not save the world. Theo is angry and scared. He knows Key is in danger. Theo goes to Key's room and wakes her and Miriam. He tells them they must leave now. They trust him and follow. They sneak out, take a car, and drive away before the fishes realize they are gone. It is a risky move, but Theo knows it is the only way to keep Key and her baby safe. This thrilling scene shows Theo becoming a hero in a film that keeps you guessing. He is no longer the man who did not care. Now he is fighting for something bigger. The escape is tense, making you root for them. As they drive into the night, Theo plans to find a way to the Human Project, hoping Jasper can help. With the fishes behind them, Zio, Key, and Miriam seek help from a former activist named Sid, now working as a corrupt border guard. In exchange for bribes, Sid agrees to smuggle them into the Bexhill refugee camp, a massive, militarized slum where illegal immigrants are detained in squalid conditions. The plan is to meet a contact from the Human Project who will arrive offshore aboard a ship called the Tomorrow. Theo and Key disguise themselves as refugees while Miriam poses as a nurse. Their entry into Bexhill is harrowing: cattle-like transport, screaming guards, and a gauntlet of fear. The camp is a bleak, crumbling war zone filled with makeshift shelters, barbed wire, and suffering people. Once inside, their troubles escalate quickly. Miriam is taken away after trying to defend Key from a suspicious guard. Theo and Key are left alone, vulnerable and frightened. They take shelter with a woman named Marichka, a refugee who agrees to help them reach the coastline where the Tomorrow is expected. All the while, Key's pregnancy grows more urgent. She's nearing labor. Bexhill reflects the world's complete moral collapse, where even basic human dignity is lost. Still, through the filth and despair, hope remains. Theo is more determined than ever to protect Key and her unborn child, even as violence and chaos close in. This scene sets the stage for the film's most intense and emotional moments. With time running out and Key on the verge of giving birth, they must survive long enough to reach the sea. As night falls over the crumbling chaos of Bexhill, Key goes into labor. Theo and Marichka lead her to shelter in an abandoned, dilapidated building. After hours of struggle, Key gives birth to a baby girl. Theo looks on in stunned silence, tears in his eyes. It's the first birth the world has seen in 18 years, a moment of pure, unfiltered hope in the middle of devastation. The scene is intimate and raw, with no music to distract from the moment's power. As dawn breaks, the reality of their situation returns. With the baby safely born, Theo and Key continue their journey through the war-torn Bexhill refugee camp. But their path is not easy. As they move through the chaotic and heavily militarized zone, they find themselves caught in the crossfire of an intense battle between armed soldiers and rebel fighters. The fighting is fierce, with explosions and gunfire rattling the air. Theo, Key, and the baby try to make their way through the carnage, but danger is all around them. In one of the film's most powerful moments, as Theo carries the newborn through the battlefield, something extraordinary happens. The soldiers on both sides stop firing. In a surreal moment of silence, the sound of the baby's cries cuts through the air. Soldiers on opposite sides of the conflict pause, momentarily stunned by the sight and sound of new life. The violence halts, if only for a brief moment. This ceasefire, born of awe and disbelief at the miracle of the baby's birth, allows Theo and Key to pass through the war zone unscathed. This scene emphasizes the power of hope and renewal, even in the most hopeless of circumstances. The baby is not just a symbol of life, but of potential peace. The ceasefire is brief, and the battle resumes. But for that fleeting moment, the sheer humanity of the situation stops the violence. With the battle raging around them, Theo and Key, carrying the baby, make their way through the wreckage of Bexhill. In a final act of defiance and protection, Theo and Key reach the edge of the camp, where they are met by a rowboat. As they step into the boat, the threat of death is ever present. Theo, gravely wounded in the crossfire, struggles to stay conscious. He knows he won't survive much longer, but his mission is clear: protect Key and her child, ensure they are safely delivered to the human project. As the boat drifts away from the shoreline, the sound of distant gunfire fades. Key's baby rests in her arms, a living symbol of hope and a future beyond the ravages of the past. The tomorrow approaches on the horizon, its lights cutting through the fog, signaling that salvation is near. Theo, in his final moments, smiles weakly at the sight of the ship. His sacrifice, though tragic, is not in vain. Key and her child are safe, and the future of humanity is, for the first time in decades, possible. The film ends on this note of bittersweet triumph, the end of Theo's journey, but the beginning of a new chapter for the world. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth recaps and reviews. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the hidden truths in every story.